I think we just get together for a couple hours and reflect on this country and pray for the country.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. We could use prayer. Did you want me to get into what I was going to talk about, John?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we now have who they believe is the shooter. I say who we believe because he has not had his day in court. He has not been found guilty in a day of court, so it would be wrong to say he absolutely is the shooter. But we probably can say with about 99% certainty that Tyler Robinson, this 22-year-old young man from Utah, is the shooter of Charlie Kirk, because he apparently confessed to having shot Charlie Kirk to his father, and his father, who works for the sheriff department and is involved, of course, in law enforcement, is the one who turned him in. Now, what I did notice that I thought was interesting, some of the bullets that were found at the scene where he fired at Charlie Kirk had messages on them. One was called "Hey Fascist, Catch." So clearly he thought that this man was a fascist. He thought that Charlie Kirk was a fascist. He was not. And we'll get more into that as we talk some more. But, let's face it. How can I say this? The rhetoric that is coming from the left is so massively exaggerated, so hyperbolic. They paint all conservatives as, and I quote, this is what they're saying about conservatives, Nazis, fascists. That's why this young man who apparently shot Charlie Kirk had a message about being anti-fascist. So they're calling conservatives Nazis and fascists and bigots and dictators and so on. And the reason this is so ridiculous is that fascists and Nazis were socialists, and conservatives hate big government. They want less government in their life. So fascism and Nazism are just another brand of big brother government, collectivist kind of thinking, centralized power in the hands of a few people in government. So comparing a conservative to fascists and Nazis is so ridiculous. It's the complete opposite of what conservatives believe in.
You've been through this personally.
Oh, you mean? I mean, bigoted names and things like that.
Oh yeah, you've been through this just as I have been, and my family's been attacked, and actually. Yesterday, I did get a call from the FBI. They wanted to follow up with me about some things. Anyways, that's where we're at with all this. You've been through it. When you were in school, you were. I don't know if we need to go into that now or not today, but what I'm thinking is. We need to have there has to be a correction here, and if there isn't a correction, I think this is going to get to a point where we're not going to be able to do nothing about it. I don't know what's your feeling.
Yeah, it's getting to a critical point when many, not all, but many on the left have to shut down your voice, yell over you, and scream over you. When you see Charlie Kirk debating some of these young people, they're always yelling over him and trying to shut him out. See, there's a problem when you think that you have to shut someone's voice up when you can't let them speak. And, obviously I do blame the left since the 1960s, for the last 60 years, for creating so much hate and bigotry and vitriol and sending it toward conservatives. Now, are there people on the right who are extremist, hard right? Sure. And are they hateful? Yes. But here's the difference. The people on the left, they have control of the institutions in America, academia, the universities, the schools. They have control over the media. They have control over Hollywood. the right, no matter how extreme some people are on the hard right, they don't have control over the institutions. I don't know a single institution that the conservatives have a strong amount of control over. The left has absolutely taken over these institutions. So we could say there's extremists on the left and right, and that's a true statement. And we could say they're both hateful, and that's a true statement. But the left, John, has control over our institutions in America, the media, the colleges, the schools, and of course Hollywood. And so they paint a very slanted view of history, and they paint all conservatives as hypocrites and liars. They paint all Christians as bigots, going back to the Shawshank Redemption, which is about 30 years ago. The warden was a legalistic, judgmental man. There are people in the church like that are very Pharisee-oriented, sure, but not everyone. And what the left has done, in my opinion, is they've taken what is extreme in the conservative movement and made it look mainstream. And they've taken what is extreme on the left and made it look palatable, while taking what is extreme on the right and making it look not palatable. So they've twisted it around. They've made the extremism on the right look mainstream, and it's not. And they've made their extremes look, it's not that bad, it's okay. So they've done a masterful job of kind of reworking and rephrasing and reframing.
And they've been very patient about how they've done it. I mean, it's the old adage. I mean, you can't eat an elephant at one time, but if you take enough bites out of it, you can. And that's how they do it. So I mean, slowly moving, and we have let this happen in this country. We haven't stood up. I mean, and we haven't said, we should have stood up and said, enough's enough. I mean, it goes clear back to Chris with with all kinds of things. But I mean, we've got ourselves in wars we shouldn't have been in because we tolerated it instead of we tolerated things. And when you tolerate things, then it's your fault. So now we're at a point where we need to start changing things that we can change, and that's what we have to do. You look at Charlie Kirk. It's a twofold situation. He was definitely demonized because he was a conservative, but I really believe it was more about being a Christian than anything. That's my thinking on this. I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's probably 50-50 split. But I mean, that's what it was about, because he was willing to stand up and say, you know what, this is wrong. This isn't the way we should be doing things. And when you do them things, when you say, when you tell the truth over and over, and no matter, like a lot of times people will ask you a question, and we're all guilty of this. But I mean, we ask the doctor, how am I doing? And then the doctor tells you, and then you try to reiterate it to make it fit in your form of way, what you want it to be. And I think that we need to. The truth's the truth. I mean, and that's the way it is. We're in a country that's $34 trillion in debt. We're being led. We've been led so long by the wrong people, and now when you have somebody stand up like Charlie and say, enough's enough, they demonize. They make a demon out of you, and that's what they did with. Yeah. That's what they did with our president, Donald Trump. I mean, he said enough's enough. I mean, let's stop. And they did everything they could to him. I mean, they slandered him. They did all the things that they could to him. I mean, and finally they took a shot at him to thinking that was going to stop him. And all that did was solidify his base. I mean, even more. And I think this is where we're at right now. I think that people. I don't think we need to come together unless we're going to do the right things. That's my opinion.
Well, yeah, there's something to be said for that unity in the right way. I do think it is important to mention the influence of the left and how far they've taken things. Because look what's happening, John. People are being fired from their jobs as teachers and other positions because they're going on social media and saying horrible things about Charlie Kirk and saying he deserved it and so on. It's unbelievable. I found this online. This is from the New York Post. It was posted yesterday. It says, gleeful school teachers celebrate assassination of Charlie Kirk in horrific posts. Now, these are people teaching our children in public schools, and this is what they're saying. From King Elementary School in Framingham, Massachusetts, someone by the name of Samantha Marengo posted a video online singing God Bless America because Kirk was assassinated. I mean, that's just appalling. You have to have, like, no conscience to do something like this. In Naples, New York, another public school teacher apparently called Kirk an aspiring Goebbels. Joseph Goebbels was Hitler's second or third in command, and so he's referring to the Nazis by saying this. There's others. Let me see. This one, I don't think this woman's going to last. She works at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. This is a U.S. Army base, and she teaches at the Army base there. So she's under Department of Defense, which means Trump is her commander-in-chief of the military, so he can fire her immediately. She said she thought that she couldn't share, she couldn't help but to share her comments, and they were pretty nasty about Kirk. Let me see if I can find them. She said about Kirk, this is this woman by the name of Kristen Eve, this is her post. She said about Kirk, he was a garbage man. I won't mourn him for 1 second. Let's see, I'm going to keep going on. She said something to the effect, she doesn't want to take the high road anymore. She's tired of being the bigger person. She said she thought that the gun violence and the mass shootings are a reasonable price. That's it. She said gun violence and this mass shooter who killed Kirk is a reasonable price to pay for the Second Amendment. So she blames the Second Amendment for the shooting, not the man who clearly had some mental problems. So this is what we're up against. People who have been so brutally indoctrinated, John, they actually believe it's good to kill a man who committed no crime. In fact, there's a page on Facebook, and I think it's also on Instagram as well, called Occupy Democrats, okay? And the day that Charlie Kirk was shot, but not yet pronounced dead, the Occupy Democrats page on Facebook, I'm sure on Instagram as well, posted that he had been shot, that Charlie Kirk had been shot. And this is what I see. 15.6 thousand likes. Happy that Charlie Kirk was shot on the Occupy Democrats page. 15.6 thousand. There also were 5.9 thousand laughing emojis and 1.9 thousand hearts, meaning they love that he was shot. This is brutal. I mean, this is insanity. Now, where did all of this start, John? Do you have any idea where all this crazy, violent, radical left wing activism came from?
I'm gonna go ahead. I'll give you reign. You got a minute.
Oh, okay. It goes back to there's two revolutions: the American Revolution in the 1770s, French Revolution in the 1790s. In the 1770s, our founding fathers got rid of the king, got rid of the monarchy, but kept their Judeo-Christian heritage. Whereas the French Revolution, they also got rid of their monarchy, so far so good, but they got rid of their Judeo-Christian heritage, and in its place rose up these radicals, humanism and socialism and Marxism and communism and all these isms, fascism, Nazism. They all came out of the influence of the theorists and the philosophers from the French Revolution. In fact, Nietzsche was the father of Nazism. He created National Socialism, at least in theory, and Hitler just built on his thoughts. And so these people pretty much influenced all of Europe, and they took over the thinking of Europe, and that's why Europe is very, very non-Christian today. And then they eventually made their way to the Americas, Canada, the U.S., along with Australia, New Zealand. That's Western civilization. And eventually they became professors at college, they became journalists, they became lawyers, and so on. And in the 60s, Marxist professors used the Vietnam War to turn the young people against the United States of America, and those people raised under that Marxist influence then became our leaders and became our government officials, professors, and so on, and they have indoctrinated our young people.
Well, Chris, I got to cut you off right there. We gotta move along here, and I appreciate you calling in, and I always appreciate your insight on these things. We're just gonna keep moving forward with what we can, and thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Okay.